Hello and welcome to this podcast. My name's Mike Gamage and I'm with Ian Gotts, who's the co-founder, chairman and CEO of Nimbus.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the world in 2011 and particularly the world of business process management. But before we do that, Ian, can we just do a brief retrospective, looking back over the 13 years since Nimbus was founded, and just ask, for you, what have been the sort of highlights, the key learnings that have come out of this?
I think the first thing is that when we launched the company, 13 years ago, in three of us in what is now my daughter's bedroom, we didn't really expect that it would take quite as long for people to understand that process improvement, process mapping, process management, whatever you want to call it, would actually have such a dramatic effect in terms of driving the operational effectiveness of companies as big as Nestle or Carphone Warehouse. 13 years ago, we said that we had this product for mapping processes, and people would look slightly blankly at you and then maybe point you at the quality manager down the corridor when we were clearly on our way to the COO's office. And it's like, no, I don't think you're going. No, I think you really need to be talking to our quality manager because he's the guy who's got all his process maps sitting on his wall. And we were saying, no, this is about driving the operational effectiveness of the entire operation. And we had that vision then, and probably the last 13 years, more and more people have seen that vision. And it's been, really exciting to see that the clients, I remember in the early days, people like Lockheed Martin, Philips Medical Systems, who are still clients, were there, and they got what we're talking about, and they helped us basically drive the product direction. And people ask us, well, why aren't you a workflow product? Because there are so many of those, and you're very different. You're all about sort of an end user perspective. Well, we all came out of a consulting background and we were trying to solve the problem, which is how do you get people to work more effectively? Mm-hmm. So that's the sort of the consulting problem, not the technology problem. Mm. Then our clients said, well, actually, you've got hold of something here. This is really exciting. And it's actually working with the clients over the last 13 years, which has driven us to where we are now. You said, are there any highlights? I think the first highlight is that this has not been a highly funded company with millions pumped into it. For the first 7 years, we grew it out of cash. And people say, well,
tremendous achievement.
How did you do that? The answer is, well, we actually had a product which we got to market, which customers were prepared to pay for. And I think that keeps you really honest. And when I look back, I think the fact that we've got customers who are still with us, who still support us, and that must be a highlight. Where are we now? Three trends which I think have been driving us for the last few years, and I think are really starting to happen now, which is cloud. So a huge number of our clients use our cloud offering called Nimbus Cloud to get their projects started very quickly. The second is social, and people talk about social BPM, it's the new thing. Well, hang on, we've had a collaborative capability within our product since release 1, that's 13 years, so I'd hardly call that new. And the last one is mobile. Again, we launched our application that runs on the iPhone, the iPad, as a way of actually liberating staff so they can access the content, not just sitting in front of a PC. And those three trends are gathering momentum, and I think that will set the pattern for what we have to do to address what is a huge market over the next few years.
It's been an amazing journey, actually, over the 13 years. And clearly we're at kind of another milestone, a key milestone for the company, because you're about to relocate to the US with your family. The chief operating officer is also relocating to the US. What's the significance of the move to the US?
Clearly the US is a massive market. Nimbus has been in the US for the last 6 years, but it's had a sales operation. So why are we relocating? We've got some very large US customers who are saying to us, are you really committed to the US? And the answer is yes, of course we are. And their question is, so where is your US headquarters? Do you have US-led marketing? Do you have a US data center? And no, we don't, and that's what we need to put in place. We already have teams that support the US sales. We're going out there to actually make sure that it's getting the level of attention that a country the size of the US deserves.
What's the market that we're currently in? You mentioned cloud, social, mobile, and so on. What's the space that we're in where those trends are taking place?
I think what's happened over the last couple of years has been driven by a couple of trends. One is obviously a fairly deep recession, and that's caused very senior people in organisations to say, look, we need to improve the way we operate, we need to be more lean, we need to be a lot more efficient. So therefore, baked into people's operational strategy is the whole principle of driving far leaner operations. And that means they need to understand what they do, which means they've turned to process. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that regulatory compliance is on the increase. And that's causing senior executives again to take notice for a couple of reasons. One is that some of these regulators can close the operation down And that clearly is not good. But even worse, actually some of the executives could be sent to prison. And that really focuses the mind. Those two things together are suddenly saying, actually, this is a board level issue. And if I look at our last conference, which we ran, both the US one and the UK one, which was covering Europe, we had some very senior people there, VP of operations, talking about how their operational strategy was process driven. You wouldn't have seen that 3 years ago. If I think forward for the next few years, we're talking about operational strategy. And you asked me the question, which is, like, what is it Nimbus does? Well, I think we can summarize it very easily in one sentence. It's Nimbus makes the life at work easier, faster, and more valuable. And that's what we're really focused on. How do we make everyone who goes into work each day make sure that they are delivering what they should be delivering for the company as easily as possible?
That's a vision statement that we've adopted this year, isn't it? And it's been interesting to see the sort of dynamics of that crystallization of what Nimbus does.
I wish we'd found it 13 years ago. It would have made life so much easier. Why do we get up and get excited at Nimbus? And the answer is because we can see the effect.
Yeah.
You can go to our website and you can look at videos from clients where they're saying, not the senior person who signed the budget off, but actually the people who it's affecting, who are in stores, who are on the shop floor, who are in workshops saying, I got stuff done faster. Actually, I don't feel embarrassed when I'm on the call centre because I don't know how to do things. I actually enjoy doing what I'm doing. What I've just done, I know is actually contributing to actually moving the company forward.
So that's what we do. What do you think 2011, looking forward to 2011? What's your sense of the priorities, the focus?
I think our plans are being driven by the plans that are being sketched up at the moment in senior executive offices in our clients. And it's interesting, everyone talks about what are the CIO predictions for 2011, but no one ever asks what are the COO predictions or the CEO predictions. The COO is sitting there saying, I need to improve the quality of the service I offer to be more competitive. I need to do it with fewer people, and I need to do it with people who are happy to be there because happy people are more productive. And all of that put together says I need to basically drive my operations more effectively. So I need an operational strategy which engages all our staff and points them all in the right direction so they all understand what they're doing. So if that's what the COOs are doing, what's Nimbus going to do? And what I'm seeing is that we've had a product in place for a number of years. I think its time has now come. And we're seeing that with an acceleration in license sales, an acceleration in terms of our pipeline. I think next year is going to be a very exciting ride in terms of being able to support clients all over the globe as they are trying to achieve happier employees doing what they're meant to be doing. And basically filling out that vision that I painted, which was making life easier, faster and more valuable for millions of people.
Thank you, Ian.